Good evening, everyone. Welcome to hashtag Whack Wednesday. My name is Autumn. This is my husband, Richard. We go live here on our YouTube channel, Watch Autumn Keto, every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for hashtag Whack Wednesday. But you can also find us every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, where we go live on our other channel, The Weathers channel. Click somewhere around here to subscribe to that channel so that you get notified whenever we go live or post a new video. So welcome. It's like in the description. It's like on another page. It's somewhere in the vicinity of here. Right? Somewhere. So don't forget, click all those links. Yada, yada. I'm so glad that you're here with us. Thank you. So glad that you're here with us tonight. Also, super special guest in the building, of course, the first Wednesday of every month. It's not only me, not only him. You see us all the time, right? So today we have Coach Bronson joining once again the first Wednesday of every month, and we were talking about a variety of fitness topics. But tonight we're talking about something that is I would really love to hear Coach Bronson's take on, because I struggle with the notion of this myself, and I want to hear your take on it too, what it means, right? So overarching, the title of today is change your identity or accept your flaws, right? You know, like, do you just is it easier to change yourself? Should we change ourselves, or should we accept ourselves for who we are?
Arrows in your quiver.
Yeah.
Do you keep those arrows, or do you
arrows
break
in your
them
quiver
and throw them in the garbage can?
What? Okay, that's violent. I'd also like to say quickly that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Team Protein over here. So yes, this is Coach Bronson's shirt. The shirt you're wearing. That shirt, what?
Oh my god.
The link is in the description box below. If you use the code WACK15, you get 15. Look, he's been walking around like that ever since he put that shirt on.
I mean, it's literally the shirt. I'm the steak.
This is my hunk of meat right here. That my husband, ladies and gentlemen, right? And so you can get this shirt on Coach Bronson's website. Warren, you might just keep doing that. Like you might not be able to get anything done. Like now he's flexing. Now his muscles hurt because he's flexing so much. Click the link in the description and use the code to get 15% off. But we'll talk more about that when Coach Bronson comes on. I will hop into some comments and then we'll bring the man of the hour on. Jen's here, says tough topic tonight. I know, I can't wait to talk more about it. Brian is here, says makes you think for a second. Get it? Second, as in he's the second one to the left. I got it. Honestly, I didn't at first, but then I was like, oh, he's second. I got it. Great evening, y'all. What a wonderful day to be keto. He's second. Jen is first. He's second. Makes you think for a second. Right? Am I right? Dave said, hello, young ladies, which I just think is hilarious.
Oh, that's so sweet of you,
Dave. Dave said, just got back from Aldi Madhouse. First of all, thank you for not putting an S on there. Secondly, I could see where it would be that. So, yeah. So.
Yep. No, it is the dawn of the season.
It is the dawn of the season. That is, that's what that means. Aldi is a madhouse. Yeah,
you gotta go to all the stores.
Kelly Keith is here, says, good evening, everybody. Chris is here, says, sheesh, it's been too long since I've been able to join here from the beginning. Good evening. Hi, Chris. I'm glad you're here. Laura, are you still here at this point? We don't know. That was a full 8 minutes ago. So Matray is here, says, good evening, all. Teresa's here, says, good evening, everyone. I am looking for who else is saying hi. Glenda's here, says, glad to be able to catch us live. Good evening, all. I'm glad that you are here, Glenda, as well. So
good evening or night, depending on
where you are, or afternoon, late afternoon, depending on where you are. Exactly. Yeah, it's the evening time here. Brianna's here, says, good evening, Whack fam. Absolutely. Brown said, look at Richard with the Bronson t-shirt. I know, right? He's clearly Team Protein.
I mean,
stop doing that. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna rip a bicep. It's been wild today. I'm putting my feet up to watch some of my favorite people. Thank you. When I tell y'all, whenever he flexes, he loses his neck. I'm like, what is happening right here? You don't look.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
You are absolutely ridiculous.
It's called
Hoopnitz here says, hello, awesome weathers and fantabulous work, fam. I hope everyone's doing great. December 1st, and what a gorgeous 60 sunny day. Crazy awesome. You know, I was just telling Richard, it's going to be 68 here tomorrow. I'm like, what? That's what I was telling you, right? Okay.
Well, we definitely have to
enough about me. Let's hop into the guest for tonight, right? Not us, because like I said, you already know what we look like. But I'm so glad to welcome once again the first Wednesday of every month is Fitness Talk with Coach Bronson. So without further ado, let's bring on Coach Bronson.
Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hi,
I got eyelashes in my eyes because I'm over here crying watching Richard.
Idiot.
I don't know what you're referring to. What are you talking about?
Oh my God!
No, that's ridiculous. So don't forget. So Coach Bronson, do you want to talk a little bit about your amazing shirt that?
Team protein, right? So if anybody's ever heard me talk, they know that I'm all about protein, right? You need protein. It's the foundation for life. It's the macronutrient of longevity, all that good stuff, right? My wonderful lady, if you guys don't know, the Keto Bikini Pro, Natalie, she came up with the phrase team protein, and immediately it was like, that's got to be a shirt. So we did
Where's
that
our
shirt
flag?
first.
Hashtag shirt.
Hashtag shirt.
Yes. Oh, here it is, right here. No, dang it, that's not the shirt flag.
You are ruining everything.
Somewhere around here. Either way, shirt. We're waving the imaginary.
It's a shirt. It's got to be a shirt. So I've got.
Got it.
There you go.
So,
I think I sent you like 6 or 7 ideas for shirts that we've had over the past few months.
Yes.
That was the first one. So there will be more coming if anybody's interested in other things.
Yes.
We'll be letting some of those out as we go.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, he's going to be sitting back there the whole time so that you can see Team Protein.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I
can't wait. I haven't even gotten mine yet. So.
No, you haven't yet. So look, that's the beautiful thing about being the producer and fulfiller of all these is I'm the first one to be like, what does this thing actually look like when we get it put together? Like I was wearing the Proper Human Diet shirts before Dr. Barry got the shirts. How did you get those? Like I make them, so I'm the first one to get them. Thank you, Richard. You're just so soft. Okay, so I'm so glad that you are here. So tonight I wanted to talk about a topic that we kind of started talking about on Clubhouse on Monday, but I really don't think we dived into it the way, because that's something that I wrestle with all the time. And I just want to give a little bit of background and tell you where I'm coming from in terms of wanting to hear your thoughts on the subject, right? So on Clubhouse, you know how we're in Keto Save My Life, which is like created by Erica, beautiful girl on keto. And when she talks, introduces herself, she always says, recovering carb addict, a recovering emotional, stressful eater. And other people in that space refer to themselves as recovering food addicts and things like that. And so when we were talking about that, because I'm not sure, I think it was like, new month, new goals, or like, what are you going to change in the next month coming up for the new year or something like that. And then when you hopped on stage, which you are not really there in the morning. So I was like, oh, look, Coach Bronson is here. You said something, and I know, right? You said something along the lines of, changing how you identify. And because that's what it was. It was the very last conversation of Thanksgiving aftermath. So people, including myself, were kind of talking about the things that they might have gone overboard with on the weekend, because it wasn't so much Thanksgiving, it was the rest of the weekend, right? So, you were talking about how for you, the holiday's no other day, or, you didn't do anything that would be outside of your normal lifestyle because it's your lifestyle and it's how you identify. So you just don't partake in the actions that don't like fall within your lifestyle, right? Yeah. So it's by saying the words, recovering carb addict or recovering food addict or things like that, about just like cementing that into your identity or reinforcing that notion. Whereas what if you just decided to change that and say, stop identifying as that to move away from that, right? Yeah. And then, but there's another side of it that I wanted to discuss, that your thoughts about, is it better to change your identity and say, look, I am no longer a person that struggles with food, right? It's that aspirational, like, I'm only looking forward into the person that I'm going to become.
It's like you're speaking it to the atmosphere.
Yes, to the universe, and then it'll happen, right? But does that set you up for trouble if is that putting you in denial about your most like your propensity to take certain actions given certain situations, you know? And so because there was a post on Instagram later on that day that basically said something to the effect of, you can't positively think your way out of a food addiction, right? You can't just say, I beat this thing, right? Like with your positive thoughts. You actually have to acknowledge it, and you have to work through it, and you have to put strategies in place. So by trying to deny that you're a food addict, it could set you up for a relapse, you know? And I was just like, ooh, I see, you know, like I see both sides of like, I love speaking my aspirations into the future, but at the same time, if I try to deny the fact that I have issues with food, then I'll put myself in situations that might get me in trouble because I won't make plans for them because I don't have issues with food, so I don't have to worry about this. When it's like, but girl, you do have issues with food, you know? So I just, you know, like it was all the two sides of that I really wanted to like discuss and have people, you know, in the chat discuss as well. So all that being said, go.
So like I was going to respond to the first part, then you threw the second part, then you threw the third part.
I know it was a lot.
So
layers.
Okay. Let's talk. I'll just try to summarize this in a couple sentences, and then we can break things down as we think about it, or as whatever.
Yeah.
When you are not living when your habits, let me make sure I say this right. When your habits do not match the person you want to be, you need a plan to maintain those habits. When your habits match the person you want to be, then you are living your lifestyle.
I completely agree with that statement. Like the plan is the stepping stone to get you to the point where you no longer need a plan because it's just who you are.
It's just the way you are. Now, the disconnect there in that second post you were talking about, where you can't positively, you can't positively cure yourself of a carb addiction or of addiction. That's absolutely true, because there's got to be action. That's the other piece of that, right? It's not just mentality, but it's the action. What are you doing, right? So the idea that it's a circle. The way this whole thing works is a circle. Your thought processes affect your perception affects your actions affect your thought process, like it's a circle. Okay.
Sure.
So, right.
It's
a circle, right?
Yeah. Like,
so if your actions don't support the identity that you're trying to build for yourself, then you're going to have issues, right? Because then you're not, you can say, I want to do stuff all day long, but if you don't take any actions for doing it, then it's nothing. What's the point?
Yes.
Where identity comes into this whole thing is, if you look at a tree, okay, you don't take care of a tree by just pruning it. Pruning, it's part of it. Trim it here, there, do whatever you need to do. But a tree lives or dies by its roots. Okay. A lot of times the focus that we put on fixing our health, fixing our fitness, our lifestyle, improving quality of life is on the leaves and the branches, right? What are we eating? What are we doing? What are we sleeping? How are we sleeping? I need to intermittent fast. I need to do this. I need to do all of these things that make my attention and my focus have to go all over the place in order to maintain a lifestyle. But it's not really a lifestyle. You're trying to manage habits. You're trying to manage things. When you get to the root, and the root is who you are. What do I believe? What are my core beliefs? What are the things that are important to me? Who do I want to be as a person? When you focus on those things, the things that you do every day will take care of themselves. Okay. And just think about, there's two examples for this. You guys are married. Right?
When did that happen? Okay.
Do you guys get up in the morning and wonder if you're going to be faithful to each other every day?
No. Richard.
Well, actually,
that question. No.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
It's you are identified. You have identified with being married to each other, and that is who you are. You don't have to think about anything, even if a temptation comes your way. You see a hot guy, Richard sees a hot girl, like whatever. Like it's right. It's not a question, because that action of cheating or being unfaithful would go against your identity. So it's not an issue.
You know,
You
and
don't have to think about it.
And in the same respect, it's not like I have to make a plan to stay faithful when I go to a party. It's like, oh, there are going to be people here, so I need to make a plan of how I'm going to stay married at this party.
Right.
Right.
Those are the wrong parties. So that makes a lot of sense, because you know the plan is the stepping stone of trying to manage the habits that you at this point might not have internalized as your identity.
Right. And the reason you need the plan is one of two reasons, or they're kind of the same, really. It's the mentality, it's the mindset. You haven't identified, you haven't defined who you want to be, so you don't know what you're working towards. Right. That's part of why that's part of the reason the why is so important, because that's part of your identity. Why are you doing this? Who do you want to be? And because of that, you don't have a mindset of your mindset is focused on what do I want to not do versus what do I want to do. So when you're always focused on the negative, your stress level is higher, your anxiety is higher, you're always thinking about restriction and scarcity mindset, and there's no positivity in that process. Okay, so it's harder. It's much harder to maintain that, because it's not a good process to be in. When we talk about, I've used this analogy a lot in the past couple of weeks. The accepting your flaws, kind of being okay with where you're at or who you are. Should we change ourselves? The answer is, it's not possible to not change yourself. Okay, you're either going to get worse or you're going to get better. No one stays the same.
Yeah,
change is inevitable. That's the only.
So if you have an option, okay. I was just listening to Jordan Peterson yesterday, and he has a quote where he says, if you have an option to stay the same or get better, you are obligated to get better.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is your obligation as a human being, for the good of yourself, the good of the people around you, the good of society, for you to get better. So you are obligated to change. I mean, it's because it's going to happen either way. Which way do you want to go is the question.
Exactly.
So yes, accepting your flaws doesn't mean not trying to change them. But then we also get into the whole question of what exactly is a flaw.
Yeah, and honestly, don't get me wrong. I tried to condense that entire 5-minute word salad into a sentence, right? So I don't even necessarily think the word flaw, or maybe tendencies, or accepting your
like a quirk.
Yeah, no, not even a quirk. Because here's the thing. I would say I tend to, I don't know, I tend to have, if unchecked, I have harmful thoughts and behaviors around food. I'm a compulsive overeater.
You would fall down the hole every time.
But at the same time, by saying that unchecked, I tend to do that. Does that mean that I'm allowing myself to do that? In the back of my head? Or am I just being honest with, if I don't get out in front of this, then I might do this. But at the same time,
that same habit.
If I have to make a plan to manage that, then it's not really who I am. I still am that person, because I have to make a plan to manage my actions otherwise.
The transition of going from who you are to who you want to be is part of that process, is stop talking about who you were.
Bam.
Is that right? Part of that process. You've got to, at some point in time, that person, all right, and this is where I was going earlier. An analogy that I've used a few times the last few weeks is, you have to break up with your old self.
Man, Man.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Okay.
Oh,
If
wow.
you've ever been in a relationship and you've dated, okay, do you still talk to that guy or girl? Do you still have regular conversations with that person? Do you still hang out? Do you still associate? Like, if you're one of those people, then that's a whole nother discussion.
I know, right? We're making a relative assumption here.
Yeah, right. But when you have a relationship with a person, it's just like your relationship with yourself. Okay, so you are a person, and your relationship, how you speak about yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you feel about yourself, the expectations you set for yourself, the vision you have for your future, all of those things are exactly the same. So if that is not who you want to be, if who you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago is not who you want to be, then you got to develop your picture and your vision for who that person is you want to date.
Wow.
And that's who you want to focus on. That's who you want to.
The person of my dream.
I'm loving the psychological.
Beth says, "Yikes! I care more about my relationship / partner / children than I do feeding myself junk and being faithful to my partner are not as important. I am not as important to me as my partner." Still with the brain work, yeah. I mean, like putting yourself as important. Natalie says, I dare to say that as long as you call yourself a compulsive overeater, you will remain that. And that's exactly what Coach Bronson is saying.
I think that's the point of the argument. It's like, is it a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Exactly.
Are you going to end up being where you started out?
But at what point do you say, I'm not a compulsive overeater?
But you used to be.
No, not even that. But what do you do? Like, you know what? I'm not a compulsive overeater. I am going to this party where there's going to be hors d'oeuvres and finger food, and I'm just going to be fine because I'm not a compulsive overeater and it doesn't bother me.
Yep.
But like when you get there, it's just like brain, just like
you're not that. Yeah, that's the transition period, right? So that's where your habits are trying to enforce an action or trying to engage in action that you're trying to change. So that's why you need to say, I am not and I'll even change that. I'll say that the affirmations that you want to say for who you want to be should always be in the positive.
Yeah, I am. I do know that.
Negative, right? So it's not that I'm not an overeater.
Yeah.
It's I only eat things that are going to help me succeed, or I'm only going to eat things that are going to help me improve my health, or I'm only going to eat things, whatever that may be, whatever that wording is for you, that's a positive that moves you in the direction you're wanting to go.
I love that.
Natalie says you have to get crystal clear on the new identity to replace the old identity. Cece says, as a man thinks, so is he. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how my mom used to say it. My mom's like, you give it energy. When you put it in the atmosphere, you put it in the universe, you give it energy. So whatever you say that you're this, guess what happens? You become that thing you say that you're trying not to be.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So what do you call yourself when you still have to put the plans in place, but you are working toward, like when you have to plan to manage your actions, you know, so
why are you putting that plan in place?
Well, just because in that transition period, in that stepping stone period, as you talked about, you know, I'm not going to say, like, if I'm being like super real, I can't just unthink myself being a compulsive overeater.
Nope,
so
not at all.
So I'm going to go to this party and I am going to actively work on managing my actions to like replace the bad habits with the new ones. So what am I at that point? Like you
are someone who is only going to eat things that is beneficial to their quality of life.
Man. And
that doesn't mean you have to create and put yourself in environments that makes it hard.
But
so that's where hold on. That's where having a plan can help support your new identity until you don't need a plan. So if your new identity is I'm only going to eat things, exactly. I'm only going to eat things that help improve my quality of life. Then the plan I need until I get to there mentally, where I don't need to remind myself that's who I am.
Yeah.
So it's like
then the plan would be eat before you get there.
Yeah.
The plan would be
That
bring
makes
your own
sense.
food.
So Blue Dove
because
says
that
yes. I was
still
gonna say
allows you to do what you're saying you want to do with your new identity. You just have to take actions.
The plan. Okay. The plan supports your identity. I get it. Blue Dove says yes. I was going to say that. I am not doesn't help because the subconscious doesn't understand. No, exactly. Yeah. Do not hold the picture in your mind of what you are or are not. Like the word overeater. Yeah. Right. Well, so Jen says, I don't know. Addicts and alcoholics are addicts/alcoholics for life. I feel my food addiction is for life. So this is what, so here is.
And that's the rubber meets the road.
So right? Yes, because when I was thinking about, when likening it to food addiction, right? I was going to like an alcoholic, if they just say, I no longer identify as an alcoholic, I identify as a person that doesn't have issues with alcohol. Mm-hmm. That may put them in situations where they're not as conscious about their like surroundings. Like that means like an alcoholic would be like, oh, my friend's having a bachelor party at a bar, I can go there because I don't identify as an alcoholic anymore. You know? Right. And it's just like, are you setting yourself up for denial when you just decide to turn off that part of like, this doesn't bother me?
As long as your habits and your lifestyle support the person you want to be. Mm. If an alcoholic or someone who has identified as, I think that my addiction to food or whatever is lifelong, that's fantastic. The person that you want to be, as you identify that person, should by default cause you to build your lifestyle and your habits so that your lifestyle or plan, depending on where you are, right? Because lifestyle and plan can be used interchangeably based on where you are in the journey.
Yes,
right?
Whether you're making yourself to manage your actions or it just is how you are.
I was going to say that's the gap.
The lifestyle or the plan that you have in place is going to support who you want to be. So that is your safeguard. Because if I'm an alcoholic, then I'm going to develop a lifestyle because my lifestyle is going to be one who is not dependent on alcohol. Mm-hmm. Then I'm not going to include anything in my lifestyle or my plan.
That's what I'm saying.
Make that an issue.
That's that gap that we don't know, the time between when you were bad to when your brain, but when you became well into what you wanted to do.
And you may need to manage a plan and try to work on managing a plan for years before it just becomes something that you just do automatically because that's just how you are. Mm-hmm. The transition, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know what that process is or how long it takes for different people, but there is a transition from this is what I have to do to this is how I do.
Yeah.
What I have to do to how I do. And that transition could be different for everybody.
It happens overnight.
That's the gap between when you're still hurting until when you're fully like trying to heal. It could be as small as like 6 months to a year to as long as 16 years to 25 years. Like it takes people different time periods to get over that.
Brian says, and now a message from our sponsor. Smash that like button like it's preventing you from becoming who you want to be. I love that. Also, our sponsor.
Thank you, Brian.
Today.
Yes.
Get the t-shirt. Get 15% off by using the code WAC15. Like that.
You will.
Yeah.
It's in the t-shirt.
That's awesome.
It's in the fibers. You can say that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. Asterisk. Results not typical. Okay. But yes, Glenda says it's becoming harder and harder for me to remember the old me that used to sit in the car and eat a family-sized bag of M&Ms before leaving the grocery store parking lot. Woo! You done preached a word there, Glenda, just with your personal experience. So,
but the further you get from that,
I agree. I mean, I have to agree. And it's funny though, and I think here's where I get, or I guess I lost the translation of like, there are ways where I have completely changed my identity. And there are actions that I've taken or a new person that I've become completely to where that old, I don't even register about that old person in certain respects. Yes. But then there are other respects where I'm still in that managing, transitioning phase, you know? And so I guess it's just like, wow, this one's taking a lot longer than those other ones did, you know? And
some do.
Yeah.
Some do. That's the point. Everybody's finish line ain't the same spot.
we've all got, I mean, there's so many layers to each person and each, you know, the psychological, the experience, all the things, right? So who we want to be, most people, honestly, most people don't even ask themselves that question. So if you're listening to this, I mean, when was the last time you sat down and just asked yourself, who do I want to be?
Who do I want to be?
That's right.
When's the last time you did that?
So just by asking yourself that question and writing 3 or 4 or 5 things down on a piece of paper, who do I want to be? What kind of person do I want to be? What kind of relationships do I want to have? What kind of health do I want to have? What kind of lifestyle do I want to have? Like, start writing some of that stuff down. How do I want to view the world? What's my perception on what? I mean, all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
Write 5 or 6 or 20 different things down, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Wow.
And that will help you make that vision of who you are and what you need to do. So this is the thing. If you don't identify, if you don't create an identity of where you want to go and who you want to be, you have no idea how to get to there because you haven't done it.
Yeah.
Right. So people are struggling right now with their health and nutrition and trying to improve the quality of life because they don't know who they want to be. All they've got in their mind is, I want to lose weight. I want to get rid of this health problem.
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay, that's great. Who are you when that happens?
Boom.
Yeah. True that.
Are you going to be happy, or will you?
Are you going to be happy? That's where accepting yourself. Accept who you are now. Be happy with who you are and the progress you're making. When you get where you want to go, if you have a picture of who that person is, then you know what to do when you get there.
Absolutely perfect.
And you just know what to work toward because you have a literal and figurative picture. I mean, I do literal and figurative pictures. Huffnet says, "Oh wow, I'm going to watch this replay after Brian gets home. This is also good." Yeah,
good.
When you got Coach Brian.
Natalie says the key to me is where you're mentally focused. If I'm focused on who I am, the new identity, then I'll be oriented toward the habits and choices that match that rather than fighting the old, right?
Nice one, Natalie.
I get that because it's kind of, I do feel like, I think fight is a good word because I feel like I'm like fighting the urges or I'm fighting the mentality.
Shows you that where everybody at in this line, like everybody's all over the place when it comes to their personal like, we could be in any part.
Renee said it's like the story of the 2 wolves, who you are and who you want to be. Whichever one you feed will survive. Yeah. Feed the positive and you feel the positive. Absolutely.
And you know,
Lynette's here. Hey, girl.
Wolves don't care about what they eat. They eat just to feed that day.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Dr. Kim Berry says. He's like, the fox doesn't have to worry about eating the proper fox diet. It just knows. The humans are the only, and Benazati said this, human beings are the only creatures intelligent enough to invent their own food and the only people stupid enough to eat it, you know, like, because you shouldn't invent food, you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
D says we just have to be honest with ourselves about who we want to be. The only person you're fooling is you, man.
D with the facts and feed those kitties. Feed those kitties.
Yeah. But yeah, like, it's just, there's so, like, I'm internalizing like what I need to start looking toward because I'm concerned, or I was concerned with the aspect of denial that comes along with flipping a light switch that says, you know what, I don't have a problem with this anymore, you know? And I don't think it's necessarily
you're just lying to yourself.
Yeah, like, I don't think it's that light switch approach. I think it's a stepping stone approach, but you have to be looking forward.
Yeah, it's an affirmation of who you want to be.
Yeah.
So basically what you're doing is you're repeating that phrase over and over again so that your brain starts believing it in that state.
Yes.
Because if you start saying, I want to be a person who, that's a subjective state.
Well, yeah,
that's not the state you're trying to.
That's not who you are.
Exactly. You're trying to say, this is who I am. So that doesn't mean you just start acting like that's who you are. The practicality of the issue is you're not there yet. Your plan needs to match and support the identity that you're affirming until your identity no longer needs affirmation.
To have that plan behind it. That makes so much sense.
It really
I
does.
really do appreciate that line of thinking.
Yeah.
In terms of, because look, I'm all about affirmations. I'm all about the fake it till you make it mentality.
Yes,
like
you are.
I'm say it. I say everything to myself
to
out
me all
loud.
the time.
I do say it. I say things speak my affirmations out loud because I know the power of talking
Saying
yourself
it to the
to
universe.
like
Yeah.
becoming the person.
Yes,
I know the
yes.
importance of saying it out loud in order to make it happen. And
my mom used to say that all the time growing up.
What's that?
Just saying it out in the universe,
Yeah.
like it gives it energy.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Wow.
And okay. And so I would say, what would you say to, because here's my whole thing. If we're just like shedding that identity, like what's the point of AA, right? Just like do that, does that not need to exist? Because the premise of that is that people have a shared, identity and affliction is something they're working toward. And see, that's what I see the morning clubhouse room is. It's just like this is our place to discuss this specific issue. So, I don't know if it tells the whole story. Like, what is your thought around saying I used to be a food addict or I used to be a compulsive overeater, just to bridge the gap between the people that might be in that situation? Because if we just walk into that room and we're just like, I don't have problems with food, I deal great with my issues, I'm great. They're gonna be like, well, that's not me. I'm a mess.
Well, that's So
I used to be a mess too, without that reinforcing.
Yeah, so we're in a little different space, right? As influencers, as coaches, as people that are out there trying to be verbal about our experience, we have to step back a little bit from the perspective of sharing, not a perspective of looking back. Right? I'm talking about my ex-boyfriend. I'm not giving him a call.
Oh, preach. Woo. That was a nugget right there. I gotta find. No, I just meant there's a difference. But literally, just put it in a way of being able to step back and fondly recall it, not fondly, but recall it as if it was like it is an instance of your life, but you're separate from it somehow.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, Renee said, "How bad do you want it?" I know, right?
And the key is understanding everybody's at different parts of their journey. Like we're not at the same point in the line.
Chris said, "Wait, since when did Bronson have an ex-boyfriend?"
I knew he was going to say something.
Oh, that's ridiculous. But okay, so we're getting to the point. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to, discuss in this exactly? He had to roll out a frame about this subject in particular, or anything about, health and fitness, what we have, Coach Bronson. I really want to say I appreciate this discussion because it really, because I was on the fence in terms of like, I hear what you're saying because I am so into affirmation and speaking into existence the person you want to be, but also at the same time, denying who I actually am at the moment is a recipe for disaster. So I'm just like, how do you reconcile the two? And I love the notion that your plan, you need to develop a plan to manage your actions that will support your new identity until you no longer need that plan because it is your new identity. Like,
literally what I said.
Yes.
No, that is not what you said.
Well, I said that the gap,
the time gap
between A and B is vast for some people. Some people it takes us like 4-6 months to realize it. Some people it takes 14 to 16 years to realize it.
Yeah.
I said that's what we don't understand is the personal get like the journey that they own make. Yeah. But I understood exactly what he said when he said it. So I was like, I agree.
Natalie said, he hurt me when he said I have to break up with my trigger foods like ex-boyfriends. Oh, that hurts. When it hurts, it's true. Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh,
that's what we have to start swimming.
Don't tell me.
We got to start swimming in those feelings. We got to go into the hurt.
Jen said, I want to hear about influencer struggles and how they overcame them. Makes them relatable and makes me feel like I can do this too. And I agree. And walking the line as influencers. That's why I'm always the one to talk about, I guess, my former struggles, sometimes my current struggles, but like not in a way to dwell on them, but just in a way to say, because I always say this, so that, I'm sharing with you where I am right now, so that when I make it to that person, you'll be able to look back and say, I literally knew her when she didn't have it together yet, you know, and now she does have it together. Not to say, I feel like I'm going to be this way forever, but just to literally say, if she can do it, because I saw her when she was at her worst, you know, if she can do it, so can I, right?
Sure.
And so I know exactly the person that I'm turning into and my identity, but at the same time, I feel like it's important to share at every aspect, nearly every day, right? So that you can, so there's a record of that transformation.
Yeah, the communication just changes from I'm a mess to I've been a mess. This is who I want to be, and this is how I'm getting there.
Yes. I've been a mess.
Structure.
That's how I used to be.
Move the A
I've been a mess. I'm not a mess anymore. I got plans in place to address my mess.
Because here's the thing. We've all got things we're working on. But why should I focus on that?
Yeah.
Right. I can focus on where I want to go, and I can provide insight on things that I'm doing to help me get there. But I'm not going to come at it from the perspective of this is what's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to come at it from the perspective of this is where I'm going and how I'm getting there.
Yeah. So Brianna says the process is still frustrating. Even when we are doing well and sticking to our plan, those intrusive thoughts pop into our heads. Today, my brain wouldn't stop thinking about pizza. It's the intrusive thoughts that I know, right? But it's just it's that separation. I know exactly what that's like. It's that separation when you've decided to go on, but for some reason there's this compulsion or there's like this separate entity in your head that you're fighting with. You know, like what is that?
Habit.
Like my higher self.
Yeah, I was gonna say childhood memories.
Habit.
I was like childhood memories. You just go like
it's all habits, guys. It's all habits. It's all habits. Okay. Okay, there's 2 books I want everybody to read if you haven't read them. The Power of Habits and Atomic Habits.
I love it.
Okay,
I haven't read the Power of Habits. I've pretty much heard so much out of Atomic Habits. I felt like I've read it, but I haven't read it. I have the audio book. I need to listen to the whole thing, but the Power of Habits.
The Power of Habits is a really good book because Atomic Habits is a good education on what habits are all about, but it really provides, every chapter provides a tool that you can put into your plan. Every chapter has a practical tool that you can put into your plan to help you support habits that support your identity. Okay. The Power of Habits is a really good book because it breaks down how habits work. How do we develop them? Where do they come from? How do we change
It's like behind the habit.
It's a little behind. It's not the practical as much as it is the what's going on up here that makes that all happen.
Our parents and our
environment,
upbringing,
exactly.
Our parents and our childhood,
coping mechanisms and whatnot.
You'd be surprised.
That is so.
She might just need some cheese on a pepperoni and then be like.
So there's nothing. So Brianna, there's nothing wrong with you. It's not. It's completely understandable. Your body, you have a trigger. You have something that happened in your head that triggered a habit. It triggered a habit. So you have to be deliberate about that and understand that habit does not support who I want to be. Who do I want to be? I need to reinforce by doing something different or activating a different habit.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know,
the habits that you repeat
take out. You have to put and that's what Dr. Robert Sivas said that I really took to heart is like when you're trying to like stop a bad habit or a habit that you want to break, you've got to replace it with something. Like you've got to have the one-on-one go-to. Exactly. You have to have the exact thing that you're going to put in place of that. You can't just take out a habit without putting something there to fill it, because then that's when your mind will just go crazy about like this is normally the time I'd be eating pizza.
And the reason the biggest reason for that is because you need to replace the bad habit with you need to replace the harmful habit or the negative habit with something that's going to be positive, because if you don't, habits don't go away by themselves.
Yeah, you have to
build something else to take that spot. So one of the good things about Atomic Habits, one of the sections in there that I thought was really interesting, was he talked about how long does it take to build a habit. We've all heard it takes 7 days, it takes whatever, to blah, right? He's like, time means nothing. Repetitions is what count.
Wow.
Yeah.
Repetitions build habits, not time.
Yes.
Okay.
I
So
feel
if you
that.
have a habit, if you have something that is harmful to your identity or doesn't get you where you want to go, or is not good for your quality of life, and you want to build a good habit, the more you can do that good habit, the faster it will become the default over the other.
Yeah, trains your body.
Yeah, and you might have to do it more, because especially with things like compulsive eating or intrusive thoughts, you don't get just tested once a day. Like it's like you know, it happens every couple of hours, and so you might have done that replacement habit a good 100 times in the span of a month, right? Like, and
by
so
a street that have the same fast food places you love.
That is so.
No, you're so true.
I got to read
That's
that.
So
Lynette says every day is a struggle, and I have to take it one day at a time. Sometimes even one meal at a time. It's all about the choices that I make. I celebrate each day that I can go without snacking. That's good. I mean, that is important. I would then I would want you to reframe the notion that every day is a struggle. You know, like, because that's what that word I really had a fight with this year. So Natalie says something like that. As a pro athlete, I still struggle. I just no longer identify with the struggle. It's not who I am. It's what I did. I get up and keep moving because I'm more committed to my future than my past. Yes. See, that is what I've come to determine. Like, I was like, I'm no longer buying into the narrative that like I'm on the struggle bus, you know, that like, oh, I'm struggling, but I'm getting along. No, I'm not giving myself that language to be like, oh, it's tough, but I'm doing it. Like, no, it's just what I do, right? Like, it's not tough. It's my everyday life, right?
Time. It's not a life.
Yeah.
That's the part.
Well, so here's the other thing too, is when you focus on the struggle, I'm saying this with love, if every decision is a struggle, then you haven't made the actual decision. Because once you make the decision to do something for yourself, you don't have to make the decision again. Man, that is that's the light switch. The light switch is making the decision. The stepping stones are the plans that you put in place to manage your action.
There you go.
But the light switch is the decision. You've got to either decide.
That's the wall. That's when you've had all you can stand and you can't stand no more.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that's what I did. That's what I did.
See, here's the thing.
A feeling like it's a struggle.
Yeah, but that's okay. Not everybody's at that point yet to be able to say, look, I'm done. Like, this is not, that's it. So if you're at a point, so just realize if every day, if every meal, if every time you see anything is a struggle, what can you do? What do you need to change in your plan, in your routine to remove that and make it easier for yourself? Are there foods that you're buying that you shouldn't be buying? Are there situations you're putting yourself in that you shouldn't put yourself in? Right? Yeah. You know, it's just like an alcoholic. If an alcoholic is in a relationship and they're recovering and their spouse is bringing home whiskey every night,
exactly,
that's a problem.
That is a problem.
That needs to be a conversation.
So if you're in a relationship and you're trying to get through something and your spouse is bringing home, you know, cake and ice cream and Pringles or whatever it is every night, you have a problem. You've got to figure out. Now that's a whole nother discussion. I'm not going to get into marriage counseling and all that kind of stuff. But
next time, I love it. That's a whole different talk right now.
But those are things that you have to kind of look at and say, what are the things I can remove, adjust, change to make my environment support my plan, support my identity?
Yes.
Wow. Nice.
That is brilliant. Beautiful. Natalie says, oh, yes, Autumn, our words have value. Language is everything. Yeah, I learned the power of that a couple years ago, a long time ago. And I really take it to heart. And I'm really, really intentional about the words that I say. And even my thoughts, and then how they shape my action and the tense that I put things in. Like I'm focused forward. Mary T's here, says, whoop, whoop, caught you at the end. Love the subject. Great shirt, Richard. Autumn did a great job. Thank you. Well, thank you, Coach Bronson, for it's the design. It's his shirt. I'm just having to make them things. But you can get one. The link is in the description. Use the code WAC15 for 15% off, and you can grow muscles like that.
It's in the shirt. It's in the fibers.
It's in the fibers. someone with executive dysfunction make that decision once for today and every day afterwards. Yeah,
There you
like I
go.
love that. I love that the notion of flipping the switch. I mean, okay, so we're almost at an hour. I can't take this. It's my bedtime, right? But like this was a great topic. And you know, thank you for kind of bringing it up. You didn't even realize that on Monday.
Yeah, right.
You don't realize words like, you know, like I be pondering on stuff and like I'm like, man, I really wanted to talk about
You
that.
did get kind of quiet after that conversation. I was like, where'd Autumn go? Where'd Autumn go? Wait a minute.
I was just like, I hear it. Like I was just like, it was the struggle back and forth.
We had a conversation privately, and I was like, I totally understand what Bronze is talking about. And she's like, you know what? You might be on the
But I said, I understand. No, I didn't say that. I said, I understand.
You're a genius. And I think you might be brilliant.
I said, I understand where the food addict is coming from, that sense of denial. But now that we've been able to further elaborate what you were talking about, it really does make sense. And I definitely align with that way of thinking, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was just really
again,
helpful.
you know, there are people that are all over the place on the spectrum.
Well, yeah, people are different parts of their journey.
Some people think that they can't do it right now.
No matter where you are on the journey, just we'll end with this. Is just keep a couple things in mind. Develop an identity, who you want to be, and then put a plan in place to get there.
Yes,
that's all it is.
Put a plan in place. I love that.
That's it.
I absolutely love that. That is a great. And one of those ways they can start is by downloading and utilizing your workout app, your fitness app.
Yeah,
you want to talk about that?
The other day.
I know, right?
Yeah. So that app is. We're making some changes. I got some changes coming, but.
You heard it.
Right now, there's a beginner app. There's a functional fitness app. 3 workouts a week or 5 workouts a week. You can download it. You get the workout sent right to you. You get me. You get videos. You get descriptions. You get access to a community of other people that are in there doing it as well. It's just a blast. It's a great way to get a well-rounded fitness program at home, at your gym, wherever you want to do it.
I love that. And where can people find you and information about you and the app?
Yep. So I'm on Instagram at coach_Bronson_keto. On YouTube at Get Fit with Coach Bronson. And my website is theapextrainingsystem.com.
I absolutely love that. And then don't forget the shirt. The link's in the description. You guys know I love shirts. If anything, to make my husband keep flexing like this. Like it's all like right. So
I gotta show off this amazing
and Coach Bronson,
fabric.
don't worry, I'm gonna Instagram you. I will get you one of your own shirts. I'll make sure you get one of your own shirts. But everyone, thank you so much for joining. Coach Bronson, we'll say bye here and we'll see you next month. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
See you guys. See you later.
Bye. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining. That was a great discussion tonight. It really opened my eyes about a lot of things that I had been like struggling with in terms of my identity, in terms of embracing a new identity versus like accepting, being real with who I am right at this moment. But you know, having a plan in place to like manage my actions while I'm building that new identity. I love that.
How logical is that?
It is. That's
what move do you make out of any disaster area?
It speaks to my
anything that you try to get up that you totally don't like, you make a plan out of that.
Yeah, you gotta make a plan, and until you just don't have to think about it anymore. I love that. I absolutely love it. Okay.
Knee flex, a knee jerk reaction. Reflex.
your knee flex.
Well, when your knee gets hit, it's
a
reflex. So it's called the doctors call it a knee flex.
That's what they call it.
Literally,
on
look
that
it
note,
up. Siri. The doctors call it a knee flex.
So you guys, thank you so much for joining us. You can catch us here every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. For #Whack Wednesday. But don't forget, you can find us this coming Friday and every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern over on the Weather Channel. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you on Friday.
Well, of course.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.